Well, we made it through our big Battlefield 5 reveal date, and even though there's a lot of people in the Battlefield community who feel very underwhelmed with how the trailer went, I myself am ready to move on from the trailer and start talking about the real heart of what is Battlefield 5. I understand the trailer is a pretty big deal, but at the end of the day, it's still a trailer and it's not the actual gameplay. So with the information that DICE has given us from this reveal and the new information that's come out from the EA Game Changers community, I want to try to give a comprehensive video where I paint as best as I can a good image for you guys to kind of visualize and point out different things in the pictures that we have from the reveals, to have you guys see a little bit better of what this gameplay is actually going to look like. From what I have been experiencing so far and listening into, I'm pretty actually intrigued to what DICE is doing here. There's no denying that their slogan, "Never Be the Same," is definitely lining up pretty clearly here. So don't want to get distracted by what the trailer turned out to be, and want to really begin to focus on each of the little individual new things being introduced to us from this big reveal. In this first video, I want to mainly focus on the new builder fortification mechanic coming out for us in Battlefield 5. This new feature is going to introduce a toolbox to every different class on the battlefield. Similar to what the gas mask is like, is how it's been compared to, but it seems like it's going to have a bit more of an effect on the actual gameplay. Now, from what I've already heard, every class again is going to be able to have this toolbox equipped, but specifically the support class will be able to actually build these fortifications much faster, as well be able to repair the fortification. Right now we only have one video showing us how this building mechanic looks like. Everything else is coming from word of mouth. So this video is coming from the live stream, and I'm going to try to focus on it as best as I can and point out all the little details of what is being built in this video and how that applies to the battlefield. In the first image we have here, we're seeing items we can build with. The first items that stand out are those pyramid-like structures that are actually called Dragon's Teeth. They were introduced in World War II and primarily were used to stop the flow of tanks and channel them down into kill zones where there would be anti-tank artillery to finish off the tanks that were going through. So that is the first item that stands out. It's right next to the barbed wire where you see those little posts that are sticking up. And then when you let the video run out, we're able to see the sandbags being built up right behind those dragon's teeth. The next image, we see a building getting destroyed, and the ability to use your toolbox to rebuild upon this building. We see next to that the construction of those famous star-like iron anti-tank structures that were placed on the Normandy beach to prevent the Allies from advancing with their vehicles. We then see a sandbag-like bunker structure being built, and what almost appears to be a trench-like feature coming out in front of it. Might not be that exactly in that video, but we do know we will have the ability to build trenches and foxholes. Now I want to point out a few more things in this image. The first being the ladder in the back. If you look closely, you can see a ladder being built, and then at the very top of that ladder you see what appears to be a machine gunner's nest. So makes you curious to think if the only way to access this nest is by using the ladder. The last image I want to focus on is the tank being constructed. Now we know from word of mouth from the EA Game Changers phone conference call that they had with DICE that you will be able to use a support class not only to increase the build time and to repair your construction, but as well be able to create fortified defenses. So the support class will be able to do a little bit more again than everyone else with their toolbox. So some of the fortified defenses that this support class will be able to construct will be things like field guns or machine guns that you can actually use in the gunner's nest, I'm assuming, as well as I'd assume AA guns, as this would complete that trifecta of the infantry, armored vehicles, and airplanes. Now, one thing was made note of, that a DICE developer did say there will be a ability for the toolbox gadget to build any type of military equipment. Now, I'm pretty sure that DICE developer meant the toolbox for the support class, as we're already finding out that the support class will be able to build a few more items than everyone else using the toolbox. But with that DICE dev saying you can build any type of military equipment, is making me think that there is a way for you to build a type of tank depot, or maybe the only way you can access a tank is by building this tank-like depot. We know there were maps on Battlefield 1 where, if you played on the game mode Conquest, where there were certain territories you would have to cap in order for you to access an extra tank spawn for you. So this could be something similar like that, where the only way you can get maybe an extra tank spawn, or maybe the only tank spawns on the map, will come through this depot system. There have been other information that's come out that has said you will be able to build a supply depot. Now, we do know there is a bit of a attrition theme where you're gonna have a lack of supply spawning into the battlefield, so being able to get supplied as quick as you can will definitely benefit you a lot on the battlefield. So building supply depots will make it much easier. Now, it is unclear to me if that's only for the support class or all the classes will be able to build the supply depots. But knowing that supply depots can be built, again, is leaning me more and more that tank depots can be built, and if tank depots can be built, then airplane depots should be built as well. So seeing that tank spawn at the very end of that building sequence has me thinking a lot on the impact of this toolbox feature. So definitely be on the lookout for how impactful this toolbox is going to be as we discover more about the gameplay and how this fortification feature is going to turn out like. Now, going back to that building in that video that got destroyed confirms to us that again, we can build on destroyed structures. But what has also been confirmed is if your structure doesn't get destroyed, you can have the ability to conquer that structure and use it for yourself. What I'm unclear on, though, is the despawn times of these structures. So can you just build these structures you know, in multiple places, and you know, if you move to another structure, will it despawn eventually? Now, we do know that these structures have a contained area where you can only build upon. You can't just build anywhere, supposedly. You can build on the flags, you can build between the flags, and you can build on supposedly most of the buildings. Now, it's still unclear how much that is, but I would assume that's a good chunk of the map, at least the more meaningful parts. But again, I'm still unclear about the despawn, and I am curious about the military assets that you spawn in with and how that pertains to your building abilities. I have been hearing that you will need to accumulate points for you in the game to unlock some of those things for you to build. So you won't be able to build just anything right when you spawn in, but you'll slowly unlock that over time when you accumulate points. Again, not still clear off of how much we'll have spawning in or what the farming like system will be after we build that structure up, how we will be able to reattain these military assets. I'm going to assume it's going to be like the supplies and how you're going to be able to resupply yourself through these supply depots. I would assume if you're going to resupply yourself with ammo that you probably could do the exact same thing with these military assets for you to construct. We've also have heard that after killing an enemy player, you'll be able to resupply ammo from that player, and I wonder if you'll be able to resupply similar military assets from that individual player. Now, following up with that progression system that I just made mention right there, where you're able to unlock more features for you to build as you play the objective and earn more points. With that said, there is a new system in the Battlefield 5 game where over time you're going to have to build up your character just by grinding out the game and unlocking different weapons and different perks and even different vehicles, I would assume, as well. So if that's the case, then as you are accumulating those points in game over time by playing the game through whatever amount of time it's going to take for you to unlock these different weapons or military vehicles of sorts, you won't be able to, I guess, necessarily build the exact same thing as everyone else. At least that's what it's making me believe. It seems like if we're going to be able to have a progression system where some people can grind out things and reach the ability to unlock certain items, and if that's integrated with the whole toolbox mechanic, then there should be situations where players who have progressed further should be able to build certain things that other players won't be able to build until they've progressed to that amount. At least this is what's making me believe to be the case. There's nothing confirmed about this yet, but it seems to be leading down this direction. There were notes about there being able to have a perk system where you could be able to unlock certain abilities. Makes me wonder if some of these abilities will be able to build quicker, or be able to maybe build for not just a support class. Maybe if you unlock maybe one of the last abilities, you're able to build more stuff if you're the medic class, or I don't really know if that's gonna be the case or not, but it seems like from the rewards you'll be able to unlock that from the new weapons and the new soldier items and new vehicles and things of that sort, that these will be very much incorporated with the building mechanics. We haven't seen any user interface for this new toolbox mechanic. Again, only thing from the live reveal showed us a third-person perspective, so not much to really go from there, but I would assume it will be something similar to what we have experienced if you've played Fortnite, as you can switch into a builder mode, and all those inputs that were used for you to switch your guns and to shoot and all things like that can be used to build instead. And I'm sure there will be a lot of customization mapping for the controllers, and of course you already have plenty of those customizations readily given to you on the keyboard. So I would expect something similar to that, as it has seemed to be kind of proven already, and I wouldn't expect DICE to try to reinvent the wheel here and try to do too much different when it comes to the inputs and how the user interface will be like when it comes to this new fortification mechanic. But that is, of course, me just speculating on the user interface, as there hasn't been really anything touched upon how that is going to look like yet. Again, we will know more about that with the live gameplay reveal on June 9th at EA Play, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But I want to finish up this video and kind of talk about the impacts of this new fortification mode and the new toolbox mechanic, and how I think this is actually going to shape the battlefield from here on out. It seems to be from this fortification mechanic, and taking in consideration how you're gonna have to make sure to find health if you get too low, as your health isn't going to regenerate as it usually did in previous Battlefield games. And the idea of having this new type of supply depots that you can build, the whole attrition of war vibe that's going on now, and again with the whole new builder mechanic, is making me feel the gameplay is going to slow down quite tremendously, actually. Even if you were spawning into the game with a plethora of ammo and you could respawn your health, I still think the gameplay would be tremendously slowed down and be turned into more of a defender of territories instead of a capture of territories. If you play Conquest a lot, you know the Zerg, you know how it just goes around in one big circle, and this is capping base, capping base, capping base. But with this new fortification system, it's really making it more difficult for you to do that and bringing more of a defensive factor into the game. which is going to cause you to, I guess from what I'm thinking about now, get that first territory that you cap and then really try to hold it down. That's what it seems like, at least. It seems from the wording being used and how they're describing this, it's going to be a big defensive friendly game, and attacking it will be much more difficult. So gonna doubt more the Zerg is gonna be able to move so easily in one big circle now. I think this is going to be a big difference in the game, having the ability to now build these different structures, especially the support class being able to build things like machine guns and field guns. It's definitely going to slow the game down, definitely going to make people have to post up more, and expect that to be more of the gameplay now in our next Battlefield title. So definitely some interesting stuff going on here. Try to give you guys an exhaustive look at all the information that's been flowing out. Again, pulling things out of the live stream and a lot of things that came out from the EA Game Changers community. If you guys have any more information, feel free to leave it down in the comments below and I'll pin that up on the top. That is it for you guys here. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. I'm Livin', and I'll catch you guys again later. Peace.